Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 492, Mr. Somich.
Travers Weekend. Huzzah!
Hey, now. Apologize for the late start, everybody. That's entirely my fault. If you're watching us live, if you're watching Twitter, you know, first of all, I forgot that we were starting at 4 p.m. Eastern today. Up until it was 3:59 p.m., I went, we got a show in 1 minute. So, I done all the handicap and everything, but actually getting ready for the show and like setting up the Equibase tabs and the background and all that, and actually showing up in the room here, being dressed, you know, these are all things that I had to do very last second.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's the second time you forgot we were doing it at 1 o'clock today as well. You forgot this morning, but I had to remind you too. So twice today you forgot we were doing this puppy at 1 o'clock Pacific. I love the stick-to-itness, the attitude there, Magic. Way to go, buddy.
Listen, it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks. You know, yesterday was the first time in 2 weeks that Colson went back to school after we got COVID from the Taylor Swift concert. So still, things are finally returning back to normal, except for the fact that we're now doing a not normal sequence for this. This is the multi-day pick six. This is all grade ones from Saratoga, starting Friday with the personal Ensign, and then all 5 grade ones on Saturday. It's a 20-cent base, so a lot more affordable if you want to play this, and also a 15% low takeout, which I don't know what Saratoga's pick 5 takeout is, but 15% is really nice no matter what you're playing, Mike.
Yeah, 15% is solid. The pick six takeout, the one day pick six, I believe is 14%, but that's a dollar denomination, so a little easier here to go with the 20-cent denomination. It could be chalky, not going to lie. We've got every single favorite with a 5 in their number, which means that there's blank to 5 is coming up in every single. Oh, I'm sorry. Elite Power is 1 to 2. So outside of Elite Power, who's sub even money, everyone else has a 5 in their favoritism. Let's go over under 4.5 favorites win these 6 races that we're covering.
Oh, under. Saratoga's the graveyard of champions, right? And it's Travers Day. The real question, and I guess we'll figure it out as we go along, is which race do we think is most likely to produce the bomb? We can talk about that when we get to them. But yeah, some of these seem very chalky. You'll see with our tickets. I have just a 20 center. Mike has a 20 center and a $5. So that is that's a 25 times ticket. Wow. $5
ticket will cost you $10 to play.
And it'll pay 25 times what the payout is if and when it cashes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
Let's be honest here. We've seen this consistently on Saratoga days. It chalks out on the big days there. We saw it 2 years ago on Travers, saw it last year on Travers. It has been a chalk fest on a lot of these days. And again, you have that similar scenario here because you've got, like Forte, who's 7 to 5, probably the most vulnerable favorite in the sequence, right? And that's a 7 to 5 favorite in Forte. You've got Stone Age who's sitting at 6 to 5, Elite Power 1 to 2. You've got Nest at 4 to 5. I mean, these are Breeders' Cup level horses that are running in small fields. I mean, these aren't fields of 12 that they're facing either. So trip trouble shouldn't be a big issue here. It means that if you're going to play this thing deep, you've got to pick 1 or 2 you think you're going to lose and try and hit the ones you think you're going to win, because you're not going to get through 6 favorites here. At least 2 of them are winning. That is 100% certain. And then you've got to decide, okay, where am I going to try and get around it? Or you have to absolutely pound the races that you like. And, in the Nest race, there is Clairiere, right? There, in the Elite Power race, there is Gunite. There are other options for you when you go through this. Goodnight Olive taking on Echo Zulu, 2 horses that both have 5s in their number. So if you take a stand in those races, you can create some type of value, but you got to be singling a lot through this thing. That's why I have 5 singles on the $5 ticket. Yeah,
you also there's the question of favorites that are morning line favorites that'll lose versus post time favorites too, because if you look at the Jerkens, for example, you've got Arabian Lion at 2 to 1, New York Thunder's 5 to 2, Fort Bragg is 5 to 2. Now I think Arabian Lion goes off as a favorite, but the point is there's small fields, but there's very rarely a situation where you have an overwhelming favorite, like even the Travers, right? Forte's 7 to 5, Archangel's 5 to 2. It's not that huge of a discrepancy in the morning line, but we got 6 races to talk about. We have a lot of agreement, but we'll still have some disagreement. If you're watching us live, let us know in the chat who you like for each race. Let's get into it, buddy. Riders up! All right, Mike, here we go. Kicking off the all grade 1 2-day pick 6 at Saratoga. Let's go to Friday, August 25th for race 9. That's the personal Ensign Stakes. 6 older fillies and mares routing a mile on the 8th. The rematch of the Shuvi between Nest and Clairiere. Who's your top pick?
Well, let's start out with this. There's an 80% chance of rain tomorrow at Saratoga. So,
of course there effing is. Yeah.
Of course there is. It's supposed to be sunny on Saturday, but there is an 80% chance of rain. It's supposed to start raining late this evening and rain through the morning. So we'll see what happens here from a condition perspective. I would expect there's going to be some moisture in the track. That doesn't really affect any of these horses. These are all horses who are very, very good on an off track. So to me, it doesn't really move forward or drop anyone back. Idiomatic, the only horse we haven't seen on an off track, has a 425 Tomlinson rating, which is very, very good for an off track. So I'm not going to use that to handicap this one specific race. Hopefully it's the only one we have to worry about weather. Single up Nest, move along. She is by far the best horse in this race in my mind. I realize that some people are going to like Idiomatic on the inside, trying to go gate to wire. I think the fact that you have a couple other horses that want to show some early speed, at least keep her honest. And Nest, I believe, is just by far the class of this division. On top of that, look, she beat Clairiere by 2 1/4 lengths in the Shuvi. That was the first time off the bench for her. I mean, this is one of the most logical improvement spots across the board for Nest. Second time out as a 4-year-old, second time out for Pletcher in a performance cycle. This is you would expect she's going to be significantly better than she was winning the Shuvi. So I think she covers Clairiere. I'm not worried about Clairiere. To me, Idiomatic would be the other one I consider using as a gate to wire threat, but I'm just going to single up Nest and move along here.
My top pick as well, 4-5 favorite. Beat Clairiere last out. You know, if you want to try and poke holes in Nest, if you can, even you'd be like, well, she's never been on anything less than a wet fast track, right? And she was wet fast for the Ashland that she dominated, wet fast for the Kentucky Oaks where she ran a good second. Everything else has been fast for her. Like, well, she's never raced on if it's gonna be sloppy, she's never been in the slop. She's by curling. I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue for her. I mean, Elite Power had never run in the slop until the Vanderbilt. My curling didn't matter.
Oh, by the way, AP&D mare, just in case you were worried.
Yeah. So I went 3 deep here. I went through the 3 logical, I guess you could call them, choices. All 3 of them by curling. So you've got that going for you. Next top pick, Idiomatic, second up for me. Which, by the way, shout out to Dr. Miranda. She and her fiance are driving right now to Saratoga, and I think they're watching live because she texted me asking why we weren't live at the time we were supposed to start. But she did the preview for this over racingdudes.com and youtube.com/racingdudes. Idiomatic was our top pick. And she has a very clear pace advantage, Idiomatic does, on paper. The question is, what does that do to Nest, right? Like, Nest last time in the Shuvi sat very close to the pace and then just went right on by. But she also was facing a horse named Pistol Liz Ablazin, who I think 6 furlongs into that race just ran out of bullets, and that pistol was worthless at that point. So that's different here with Idiomatic, right? Like, winner of 6 of 9 starts. She's undefeated in 5 starts at 2 turns this year. Never been off the board. It's a huge class test, right? This is not the Delaware, but the Oaks that she was, the grade 2 race that she was in, the handicap, sorry. This isn't, it's not that. It's not the Shawnee, but this is Brad Cox on a big day at Saratoga. I'm going to ride with this horse. I love the pace advantage she gets. And then I threw Clairiere in here too. It wouldn't shock me one bit if she won this race. Now, do I think that Nest is going to keep beating her? Yeah, but Clairiere throws up some really solid, super impressive efforts. Like, look back at the Breeders' Cup distaff. Still can't believe she lost that. I was all over Clairiere for that distaff last year. She comes back this year, has been running straight. So I went 5-1-6 in order here, but I mean, Nest as your top pick. I'm not going to poo-poo that.
Yeah, here's my problem with you going 5-1-6. We think it's going to be a chalky sequence, and you're using the 3 chalks in the first leg. That would be my only knock on the ticket construction there, just because it's just, to me, you really got to decide if I'm going 2 deep, if I'm going 3 deep. I've got to find some prices I like to use, right? Someone who I think won't get better, get blown up. To me, this is one of those spots where if Clairiere beats me, if I was going to go 2 deep, it would be 1-5. I wouldn't go past 1-5. You might be able to talk me into the 3 or the 4 if you wanted to get a little bit kooky, simply because I would want a price. But I would take the 3 or the 4 over the 6, just because I feel like if Nest runs her race, the 6 can't win. And then it leaves you with who else is there. And so I'm willing to say, okay, I'll let the 6 beat me, let Clairiere beat me. I like the idea of using Idiomatic. I would try and use the 3 or the 4 if I was going 3 deep.
The 3 horse that you mentioned is Secret Oath. Rodney Evans in the chat saying it'd be really funny if Secret Oath wins. I wouldn't find it funny. I'm not using her. Ron, yeah, I did very much disagree. Yeah, no, we'll see. She's like Clarier. She struggles with whenever she faces Nest. 63 Caliber, the 4-horse. It is a filly I have a very small piece of through my racehorse. I'd love it if she hit the board. That's what we're hoping for with her. Hit the board, get that grade 1 black type placing on her resume. That's what we need. 63 Caliber.
And honestly, if she hit the board, I mean, look, if you had a betting line of exact finish, 63 Caliber would be like minus 250 to run 5th. Right? Because she's clearly a cut below the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 6. And she's way ahead of Mallory, the 2, who's just in here to try and cash the check. So I would say that she's got a very, very good shot of finishing 5th in this race.
Vicky Felker says she's going to fire a $25 straight try, 5-6-1. So you got that going for you. By the way, we have no idea who is riding the Luis Saez horses. At least as I apologize. Nick Feldman knows. I don't know, but Nick Feldman does. Javier Castellano is going to ride Secret Oath in this race. As far as Saturday's races go, though, I don't really have much insight on who he's going to be riding in that spot. But we definitely love Nest in this race. Let's move on, Mike, over to Saturday now. We'll start with the Grade 1 Forego Stakes. This is race 7, and we've got 5, possibly 4 older horses going to be sprinting 7 furlongs on the dirt. Another rematch from last time out at Saratoga. Elite Power and Gunite from the Vanderbilt going from 6 furlongs to 7 here. Does it change your opinion on who wins this race?
Nope. No, it doesn't. Look, this is you use the 2 or the 3 and you move along. Don't use them both. I'm going to single up the 3 Elite Power. I think is clearly the best horse in the race. Well, not clearly. I think they're both Gunite and Elite Power are both very good horses. But I like Elite Power over Gunite here. Was able to get the job done last time at 6. I think the extra distance actually helps both of these horses. I don't think it affects either of them in a negative manner. I think Elite Power gets the job done again. This horse just... I mean, the Vanderbilt was a great example. It looked like a Gunite was gone. And Elite Power just like, nope, I'm going to start charging now. And just gobbled up the ground and went and ran down Gunite. You love seeing that from a racehorse. You love seeing that competitiveness, the will to win, the want to win. You see it from Forte as well in a lot of his races. Elite Power knows where the line is. Elite Power wants to pass horses. Those are the type of horses I want, especially when you've seen this one go and get Gunite in the past too. It's not like we haven't seen him be able to run down Gunite. Gunite got everything his own way in my mind in the Vanderbilt. Still couldn't beat Elite Power. The extra furlong helps both of the horses, so I'm going to stick with the 3 Elite Power here.
Top pick for me as well, going for his 9th straight win, 3rd off the layoff, going back to 7 furlongs where he's 2 for 2, right? You got to love the fact that the horse is undefeated in 2 starts at the distance. I did use Gunite as well, just because it was so close how they finished last time out. And going longer, I think might help him a little bit, just because Elite Power has to extend that kick an extra furlong. Like I said, he is 2 for 2 at the distance, but he wasn't facing Gunite in those spots. Gunite he was beating at 6 furlongs. Gunite is 4 wins, 2 seconds, and 6 tries at 7 furlongs. He can handle the distance very well. The only 2 times that he lost, one was his first start at age 3 after 244-day layoff. The other time was a Jack Christopher, who was just an absolute freak sprinting. So I'm not too worried about him. I think the fact that they knew Elite Power was coming here, and the Winchell Asmussen team just said, no, we're throwing him back in. To be the champ, you got to beat the champ. So they're going up against Elite Power. So I went 3-2 in this spot. I see Nick Feldman is going to be heavy on Gunite here. I get why you would single Elite Power, but I think Gunite's got a chance to take down the champ here.
Look, yeah, he's got a chance. I'm not going to knock you on the he's got a chance, but now you're using the first 3 chalks in a 6-horse field with the first 2 chalks in a 5-horse field to start out a chalky sequence in a 20-cent pick 6. So I like, again, I don't disagree with the horses you're saying. To me, it's like you kind of have to take stands here throughout this entire sequence, because it's going to be like, look, who beats them in this race? Like, if they lose, they fall
track.
I can't make a good argument for the 1, the 4, or the 5 in this spot. So it's tough for me to then use both of these entrants here on a single ticket.
Don't worry, I'll take a stand here. It won't be in this next race, though. It'll be the one after that. Race 9, the H. Allen Jerkens Memorial Stakes. We've got a field of 6 3-year-old males sprinting 7 furlongs, the name of the day on Travers Day, apparently. 7 furlongs on the dirt. 2 Bafferts, New York Thunder. Where are you going on top?
$5 ticket. We're singling Arabian Lion on the outside. I think Arabian Lion look, I love Fort Bragg. I've been talking about Fort Bragg since the Florida Derby, quite literally. So it's been almost 5 months, 6 months now that I've been talking about this horse and been high on Fort Bragg. Velasquez tips the hand here, though. The fact that Velasquez ends up on Arabian Lion tells me which of the 2 horses are better here. So I like Arabian Lion over Fort Bragg. I respect Fort Bragg. Think he could still win the race, but I like Arabian Lion on top. I'm going to use Fort Bragg to me, New York Thunder is the linchpin here. It's what do you do with this horse? We both loved this horse like 3 times when it entered, and it scratched each time. Finally got to run. Horse won for fun. Pops a 110 buyer. Absolutely phenomenal. Looks incredible. Waters get a little deeper here, like a little deeper. I don't know if I actually can tell you, I can't back New York Thunder at 5-2 against this field after the little seasoning that we've seen in the fact that, look, it's real possible New York Thunder bounces off that effort. It's going to get real pace pressure from Drew's Gold if Drew's Gold breaks. Fort Bragg and Arabian Lion aren't going to be 5-6 lengths back. This is a lot more difficult field. I did go 3 deep. I used Fort Bragg and Arabian Lion in the 20-cent ticket. I singled Arabian Lion in the $5 ticket. And then I used the 3 verifying, who I think is interesting here with the just plethora of speed signed on for a horse that's cutting back, that has shown speed going longer and should have a good kick coming for home going 7 furlongs. So I like the 6 on top, but I went 3-4-6 in the 20-cent ticket.
We're going to agree on the 2 Bafferts for sure. Verifying's an interesting one. After the Indiana Derby, which he barely won over Ray's Kane, Brad Cox said that jockey that day, Marcelino Pedrosa Jr., came back and said, I don't think he wants to go that far, like ever again. And Brad was like, yeah, I don't know that he does either. So cutting him back to 1 turn.
I told you that on Derby Day.
Yeah, I think we've been saying that for a little while. But it's like we've been trying to say for months that you should put blinkers on Tapit Trice, and they finally decided to try and do that one. Listen, I use New York Thunder because this horse is just so freaking fast. Now, I want to ask you, what do you make of the fact that he was working bullets like crazy on the dirt, and then he wins the Amsterdam, and he's had 2 works since then, and they're 52 seconds flat for 4 furlongs. He doesn't have any bullets, nothing super fast. Is that something that handicappers should be worried about, or is it just like do you think more that Delgado was just trying to take it easy on the horse after what happened? How fast and how huge he ran in the Amsterdam.
Think about the best sprinters in the world. You couldn't really take it easy when they worked out. They were just fast. And that's kind of what it felt like with New York Thunder. Every step of his career, he's just been fast. Except for those last 2 works, which is after a career best effort against graded company for the first time, we absolutely blew the doors off him. To me, it's a little bit of a concern that those 2 works aren't just slow, they're slow, right? I mean, we're talking 52 off of 46, which he went before that race. One of the reasons we both loved him. Also don't love the fact that we scratched out of 2 races to get into that one and then pop a huge number. It immediately makes me think this horse has some trouble every now and then getting to the racetrack. And now we're coming back at a quicker pace than we have in the past with those workouts. Look, you got, what was it, 5-1 that day New York Thunder won? Against
5-1, yep.
Just Drew's Gold and nothing. And now you got to swallow 5-2 against Arabian Lion, Fort Bragg, verifying, and Drew's Gold. The price is wrong here, Bob.
It might. I have a feeling this is going to creep up a little bit, maybe 3-1 or something. I think Arabian Lion's going to get hammered. I am curious. Michael Olsen in the chat, he said he's going to have a worse pace scenario for New York Thunder than last time. The only pace horse that might screw with him this time is Drew's Gold. And Drew's Gold was in the race last time, and it didn't really bother him. So I don't really agree with the pressure up front angle there. But let me know. Let me know in the comments what you are thinking with that one. I mean, do you think that New York Thunder goes right to the lead and Drew's Gold tries for a little bit to stick with him again?
Well, okay, Drew's Gold has to go harder than he did in the Amsterdam. I think that Jose Ortiz that day thought there's no way New York Thunder can actually do this, right? Because New York Thunder went 21-2, 43-2. I mean, that's just blitzing, right? Blitzing a half mile. Now, they went 6 furlongs in 107-3. So he started to slow down that middle half mile, and they came out in 114. Racehorse time, don't get me wrong. But he was not going as fast late as he was early. And if he goes 21-43 again and comes in 107 and then finishes up in 120-ish, well, he probably finished up in 121 based on what he's doing. He's going to get caught. He's not going to win this race at 121. So to me, the other thing, you got a jockey change, Gomez jumping aboard, Jose Gomez jumping aboard for Drew's Gold. He's a send jockey here. Like this is, you're just going to blitz Drew's Gold from the rail because you've already proven you can't beat New York Thunder from the rail by letting him go. So now you better go and see if you can beat him by going. To me, I think you're going to see a more aggressive ride early from Drew's Gold, and that's going to create problems for New York Thunder. I don't necessarily think Drew's Gold can go with New York Thunder and hold, but I don't think New York Thunder can hold if Drew's Gold decides to go with them either.
Fair enough. I'll move on to the fourth leg of the all grade 1 2-day pick 6 at Saratoga. Race 10 on Saturday, the Ballerina Handicap for 8 older fillies and mares. Sprinting 7 furlongs on the dirt. Finally, the last 7 furlong race. We've got 4 straight 7 furlong races here, Mike. We're going to get away from it after this. This is the Breeders' Cup winning year for the filly and mare sprint. The top 3 finishers from last year's filly and mare sprint show up back in this race, and also so does Sterling Silver, who happened to be 9th that day. I don't think any of us are going to pick her here. Where'd you go on top?
Give me Sterling Silver on top. No, I'm kidding. Look, this is an ultra competitive race. This one's actually a lot of fun to handicap and look through. I think the question that I had to ask myself was that Echo Zulu race for real in the honorable miss? Because if that race was for real, she wins this race. And I kind of feel like it was for real. She looked that good, that comfortable doing it. So I put Echo Zulu on top here. I realize Goodnight Olive's in here. I realize Metzray is in here, one of my favorite horses in training, one that I picked quite a few times. You've got Wicked Halo in here. You got Caramel Swirl in here. I understand why people want to take a shot in this spot. But man, if Echo Zulu runs back to that, it's over. Like no one can go with her and no one can catch her if she does that. And I'm not a huge Echo Zulu person, but we talked about this when she was at the Breeders' Cup as a 2-year-old. I didn't love her at that distance. I'm happy she's sprinting now. This is what I think she is best at. Hard for me not to go with the 6. So I singled up the 6 on the $5 ticket. That would be the 4th single in a row for those counting at home. And then I decided to go, make sure I get this right. I decided to go 3 deep here because I do like a couple others in here, but I have Echo Zulu on top. Who you got?
Single and Echo Zulu. Like Chris Maiello in the chat says, the name of this race should be called Flow Don't Off and You Win Challenge. Yeah, it was for real. As Vicky Felker says, yeah, we're talking to you, Goodnight Olive, who hasn't looked quite as solid as last year. The one time that she lost right at Churchill, she got boxed in. That was just a bad ride from Iraq because he loves to get himself boxed in on a horse that's much the best. We're talking about you, Forte.
I'll hate that race for a long time. Cost me
Iraq got his revenge on Tyler the next race. But the fact that she, last time out in the Bed of Roses, when she was only a neck ahead of Wicked Halos, good filly, and 3/4 of a length ahead of Caramel Swirl, decent filly. I'm not using either one of those in this spot. I think Goodnight Olive, we're seeing cracks in the armor. She is 5. She's a mare. At some point, she's going to hit that wall and decide she's done racing. I think this might be the spot. I'm going to go with Echo Zulu, gate to wire. The only time that she ever lost a one-turn race, it was the first time she ever faced older horses. Finished second to Goodnight Olive last year in the filly and mare sprint. So I understand if you want to use her there. But who is your third pick? You did tease that you've got because I assume Goodnight Olive's the second pick here.
Yeah, I'm using Goodnight Olive. 6 for 7, going 7 furlongs. Love Saratoga. 2 for 2. Echo Zulu, by the way, 3 for 3 at Saratoga. 2 for 3 at the distance. So you can't really knock one if you're giving props to the other for how good they are at Saratoga. I still believe in Maturea. I believed in Maturea multiple times. I've used her multiple times. She's won for me multiple times. I don't think she is a cut below any race we've seen from Echo Zulu or Goodnight Olive, except for the last race we saw from Echo Zulu. So if for some reason that race isn't real, if Echo Zulu cannot return to that form, Maturea to me is the most likely horse to pull the upset. I do like Goodnight Olive, but I think Maturea and Goodnight Olive are about the same horse. You're getting 6-1, 9-5 on the other. So I'm not really interested in giving up a price on one. Goodnight Olive, also a Chad Brown dirt horse. We've talked about this quite a bit. I'm not a huge Chad Brown on dirt guy. I think he does good work, but not great work, and often gets overbet because his name is Chad Brown. So I ended up going 3 deep here. Give me the 2, the 6, and the 7. I think they're the only 3 that can probably win this. I think Wicked Halo has a shot at getting a piece, as does Caramel Swirl, but I don't think either can pull off the upset against all 3 of them.
Yeah, keep Wicked Halo in third. I think she's not necessarily a lock to get third, but I think she's got a very strong chance to hit the board there. Maturea is second up for me, and this is the one that I'm actually most worried about beating Echo Zulu, not Goodnight Olive, because when she fires her best, Maturea is damn good. And I know she won the Derby City Distaff when Goodnight Olive got held in and boxed in, but she on her best day, she can look incredible.
I think she still would have beaten Goodnight Olive that day. I think Goodnight Olive was running second, because Maturea finished up well even after that box in. I also bet Maturea thought she was going to win, so I'm a little biased.
Did something happen at Saratoga? Aaron just asked me if I'm watching it, and I'm like, no, I'm live. Thanks for paying attention.
2 minutes to race 7. I didn't see anything. I've been, working on this podcast instead of watching the races.
I know. Well, hey, he wants to know if you're watching it. Yes. Jesus Christ, Aaron. Hey, I'm gonna tell him to just tune into the show we'll cover what's happening over here. We both love Echo Zulu on top in the Ballerina Handicap. Next up, Mike, the penultimate leg of the 2-day all grade 1 pick 6 at Saratoga, Saturday, August 26th. Race 11, the Sword Dancers Stakes, is the Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the turf. And if Channel Maker wins this race for the second time, he'll become the 4th horse ever to win a grade 1 race on the NYRA circuit at age 9. Funnily enough, the 3rd horse to do it actually did it earlier this year with Red Knight. All that to say, we're going on top in this 1.5 mile turf route.
Do you think Channel Maker gets his own race named after him at Saratoga?
I have a love-hate relationship with that horse. Most of it's hate. That being said, I think he needs to, well, at some point he needs to have something named after him, yeah.
Maybe give him a Belmont race, like in the spring or something. You know, something like that.
I like that better.
He should have a long turf race named after him at NYRA. Castle Creed should get a graded stakes. It better happen the year after he retires. But Channel Maker should get a long turf race somewhere at NYRA named after him. All right, who do I like here? Look, not going to get creative. Single up Stone Age on the $5 ticket. Look, this is, if Stone Age runs back, it's interesting. This is first in Chad Brown's barn. That to me was like the one thing that I kind of did here. If Stone Age runs back to the efforts that we've seen in North America, the Breeders' Cup Turf ran second last time out. That's a winning effort. Ran well in the Hong Kong Voss race, but he wasn't able to get the job done. Ended up running 5th there that day. The time forms the 2 prior efforts, both good enough to possibly win this. Biggest issue here, this horse doesn't win as much as you probably would like it to win. But this isn't a world beater field. And to me, that was really the biggest part of this, is that like you look through and you're like, Soldiers Rising, oh goody. Can't wait to see him run 3rd. Versputin. Can't wait to see him hang. Like Bolshoi Ballet. We're back, I guess. You know, I don't even know why you're here. Pioneering Spirit. Scratched out of an allowance to run in this. Like Channel Maker. Oh, it's Channel Maker. Like, this isn't a hard group to beat. Stone Age should be able to beat them. So I singled Stone Age in the $5 ticket. However, I am going to go 4 deep in the 20 cent ticket because I do think Stone Age is a favorite you can try and get around.
I'm sorry, did you mean... Oh, you are singling Stone Age in here. Okay. You had said Soldier Rising at the very start. That's why I was going... No, that's okay.
The field was.
No, that's all right. We're both using Soldier Rising. Soldier Rising is my top pick, and that's why I got really excited. 2 good races to start the year, running second in back-to-back Grade 1 turf routes, including in the Manhattan to Up to the Mark, who I don't know about you, would be an easy single and move on for me in this spot if Up to the Mark was in the race. Yeah, for you too? Okay, good. You scratch off that Bowling Green effort. He was right behind Rebels Romance when that horse clipped heels through the rider. The horse then bumped hard into Soldier Rising as Jose Ortiz was slamming on the brakes. Just complete toss out for that. Don't just like I'm tossing it up for Channel Maker because the heavy favorite everybody thought was going to win fell down. I'm not going to poo-poo on Soldier Rising. Stone Age, I went 4 deep, was the last ticket on for me, or last horse on the for this race for me. Runner-up in last year's Breeders' Cup Turf. First start since then. So what is that? 9 months, not almost 10 months that this horse has been missing. And what does Chad Brown do first time with him? Throws him into a grade 1 on Travers Stakes. Okay, Chad thinks this horse is doing it. He only has 5 recorded works coming into this, so that tells me that they were probably galloping a lot and just getting him nice and fit. So I'm not worried about that too much. Other horses I use, I went with a 5 Pioneering Spirit at 8-1. The horse is undefeated in 4 straight starts, all on the turf since Linda Rice claimed him back in March. All 4 wins, by the way, open length victories. Now, he was beating nothing compared to what these horses are, but this also isn't a world beater grade 1, like you said. I think Linda Rice saw that and was like, we're going to put this horse in there because we might be able to steal one with this 4-year-old gelding. Jose leaves for the 1, doesn't stay with Pioneering Spirit, but his brother, who has the same agent, and is just as damn good on turf as he is, Irad. He hops in. I'm getting Irad on a Linda Rice horse at 8-1 on a big day. Yeah, I'm going to take this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I look, Pioneering Spirit makes a ton of sense to me. Scratched out. Well, let me rephrase that. If Stone Age doesn't run that well, Pioneering Spirit fits with the rest of these horses, right? I mean, because Linda Rice scratches out of a Wednesday race to end up going into the grade 1 here is a huge difference in the scratch there. So we're scratching out of restricted stakes to jump into here. You mentioned that the horses won 4 straight, all 4 of those on the turf. First time touching the turf, 4-0, all open lengths. Yeah, it's a jump up, but I'm willing to take a shot here at 8-1 if something goes wrong with Pioneering Spirit. I think it's really interesting Bolshoi Ballet is in here because Stone Age left the Aidan O'Brien barn to go to the Chad Brown barn, shows up here, and oh, by the way, Aidan O'Brien's like, okay, you want to do that? I'll ship in Bolshoi Ballet. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to use the 3 Bolshoi Ballet simply because I think Aidan O'Brien's coming for this one. And then I like, look, Soldier Rising's the other likely horse to win this race. I'm going to end up 4 deep on the 20-cent ticket because I'm going to try and get around Stone Age if I can, if for some reason he doesn't run well. And if he does, hey, guess what? We got a $5 ticket live to 2 horses in the last thing. So I'm going to go 1, 3, 5, 7 here.
Couldn't pull the trigger on Bolshoi Ballet. I feel like they just sent him here. He's 5 years old. He's intact, so he's a potential for a stallion somewhere. But the fact that he's this old, still running, and all 4 wins, by the way, came in his first 7 career starts. He's 0 for 9. I just think that he's here because he is not of any class to be running overseas that's worthwhile. And so this is kind of like a last ditch effort to see what they can do with him. Horse was triple digits last out it was a huge race, $1.6 million Group 1. But I don't want to bet an Aiden horse that was over 101 last out, comes over to America, and no rider comes with him. Like Johnny V's riding. Johnny V's a great rider. I don't like the fact that if this horse had any chance at all, you think that Ryan Moore, Shamie Heffernan, somebody would have come over with this horse other than just the traveling assistant for Aiden O'Brien. So I left him off. If he beats me, well, fuck, it wouldn't be the first time Aiden beat me in this spot. I'm just worried that he's going to be early speed up there with Channel Maker and possibly Stone Age and then just completely quit in the far turn. Last one for me. Give me the old guy Verstappen, the number 2. Let's get back on the Verstappen train. Back on, for me, it is just literally like getting on for the first time. Won the Grade 2 Elkhorn at this distance over Red Knight, who I talked about earlier, was the third 9-year-old to ever win a Grade 1 race on the Naira circuit. Red Knight then beat Soldier Rising next out. Soldier Rising is my top pick. The Grade 1 Man of War, I did not like for Verstappen because he couldn't gain on the rail. If you watch the Elkhorn, he was outside of horses and he was able to explode. When he's on the rail, that's when things go wrong for him. So I'm going to take the chance that Declan Cannon learned from that, doesn't put him on the rail again, and tries to go wide off the turn. Now, he is going to be at the rear, but I think there between the 3, the 6, and the 7, there's enough pace for him to close into. I couldn't get over the fact that he beat Red Knight at Keeneland in the Elkhorn, and then Red Knight went right back and beat my top pick next out. So I'm going to go with Verstappen on my ticket as well here.
Yeah, I mean, you should Verstappen the train with this one. I can't with Verstappen. There's not a single race that he has run that beats anyone but Downton in this field, and maybe Pioneering Spirit if Pioneering Spirit doesn't take a step forward. I'd like this just screams I'm gonna hang like a mother when we're gonna try and run up for third late. I can't use Verstappen.
That's fair. That's fair. Listen, I didn't want to use Verstappen until I looked at this and I was like, oh shit, I will say I would like him a lot better. No shot against Declan Cannon. I would like it a lot better if there was someone other than a little more experienced. Let me put it that way. Someone experienced in a Grade 1 race on a big day at Saratoga.
Yeah, I would need more than that. 10% better of a horse.
Yeah, you can also ask for that. Listen, that's right. Listen, if you want 10% better than Verstappen, head on to the next race because race 12 is the Grade 1 Travers and Forte is at least 10% better than Verstappen, right? He is the 7-5 favorite in the Travers Stakes. 7 3-year-old Colts and Geldings going, and one Ridgeling, sorry, Arcangelo, going a mile and a quarter on the dirt. The Midsummer Derby, if only the fillies could race in this against the boys. Mike, who you got on top?
Oh, you're calling back to the first.
That's a 2018 callback. Yeah, 5 years, people.
First season shot there. I think we were streaming then. We were just streaming on Amazon Plus or something. It wasn't even on StreamYard yet. All right, look. I'm going to put Forte on top. I went back and forth. I actually I picked 3 different horses on top before I landed on Forte. So this is a race where I was more hesitant to really be yes. And this is the only race I'm not singling in the pick 6 sequence as well. I think Forte is the best 3-year-old still outside of Go Rocket Ride. We talked about that on Monday, but of the horses that are sitting in here, I think Forte is the best of them. I'm going to play against Arcangelo in this spot simply because you need to prove it to me one more time, Arcangelo. I don't think he's incapable of proving it to me. I don't think that he's got no shot at winning this race, but we cashed at 6-1 against what I think was an easier Belmont field than what you're getting 5-2 here today. And I do think Arcangelo is going to take some money into this field as well. So I put Forte on top. Arcangelo was a fade for me. I could legitimately make a case for 5 of these 7 horses, maybe even 6 of the 7 really to win. Sorry, Disarm. Yeah, caught a stray there. But I'm going to put Forte on top. And Mage to me is the other $5 horse. I think Mage is as good as anybody else in this field. I think Forte's a step ahead of him, but Mage is right there. We still haven't seen Mage run well with a clean trip against Forte. Maybe we'll see that now. I like the idea that we're getting Flavien Prat aboard. Now that's confirmed for the Travers here to fill in for Luis Saez. I think it's not an upgrade, but it's a lateral move, and it's a very, very good jockey filling in on a horse that has a boatload of talent and that has tactical speed, which is something that Flavien Prat is exceptionally good at using, is understanding when to hit the go button, how close to sit to the pace. His internal clock's very good. So to me, Forte and Mage were the must-use horses. They were the $5. This is the only race I'm going too deep on the $5 ticket, and it's going to be the 1 and the 4. Who do you got on top?
Oh, I got Forte on top. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really went into this thinking I was going to single, and then looked at how cheap my ticket was, and because it's a 20-cent base, gotta love it. I was like, you know what, I'll throw one more on here. I did throw Arcangelo on. He did beat him in the Belmont. He had the jump on Forte, and he had him measured every step. And I think to me that's the key here. If Castellano knows where Forte is, and he's going to be watching for that horse at all times, he's going to have him measured. He's going to try and keep him measured again. Forte's on the rail. I talked about earlier. Irad loves to get that horse buried on the rail. Good horses buried on the rail, and then try and show how good he is as a jockey to get them out of it. It's like, no, if you just didn't fuck around like an idiot, it wouldn't be an issue for you. But Arcangelo beat multiple horses that are in this race in the Belmont Stakes. It has been done before that a horse can go from the from the Belmont straight to the Travers without a race in between, and to keep them fresh. He's got that 5 furlong work, that a bunch of 5 furlong works here, but they all look pretty consistent. He seems to be at the same spot that he was in the Belmont Stakes. Yeah, the price is 5-2 versus 7-1, but who's going to take money in this spot? I mean, Mage is the fact that if Mage won the Haskell, he's going to take money, but I think Mage is a great horse to hit the board. I agree with you. I think Pratt jumping on is a nice move. It's a nice pickup there. That was the best option. I just went 1-2 in this spot. I went Forte. I went with Arcangelo. Really, honestly, considered just singling Forte though, because I think he's just that good of a horse.
Yeah, when you go back and you watch the Belmont, Arcangelo kind of got everything perfect, right? I mean, if you go back, he sits on the rail, is able to go inside of everybody. Forte ends up 4 or 5 wide. Forte also off the 3-month layoff, which is well documented going into that. I think you'll see a better version of Forte today than you did in that Belmont, just because you're going to see a fresher version, specifically off the nice win last time out in the Jim Dandy. I'm going to use Scotland here too. And I'm going to go 3 deep with Scotland on the 20-cent ticket for the simple reason that you got to think that National Treasure of Scotland is going to go. I think Scotland is going to push National Treasure and go right to the front. Is actually faster than National Treasure. If Scotland gets loose, a 1.125 is not, or a 1.25 at Saratoga, not a bad distance to be on the lead. I look at 12-1, especially. Why not Scotland just digs in there and fights? And if that's the case, then I want to be a part of that. I don't love horses like Tapit Trice, don't love horses like National Treasure. I want to be against Arcangelo, but I do think there's a shot you can get the longest shot on the board home here. So I'm going to go 1, 3, and 7, or 1, 4, and 7 here to close out the 20 center.
I don't hate the Scotland pick. I'm just worried about if he's really talented, and also curling into the Travers, like that's a move that rarely ever works out. But you're getting a good price on him. You're getting a really nice price on him at 12-1. Speaking of 12-1, a couple horses we'll talk about here since we got a couple minutes left. Tapit Trice 12-1, adding blinkers. When we were first doing this, I was about to use Tapit Trice. I was like, I can't put Tapit Trice on my ticket here. We've been saying for ages he needs to add blinkers, but I mean, Saez gave up on him, right? Saez was going to leave him for Mage. And, if Saez, too bad Saez got hurt, he can't ride him. But Tapit Trice, do the blinkers help him? And where do you think he finishes?
He'd be the 4th horse I'd use. So if I went 4 deep here, I would add Tapit Trice over Arcangelo, 12-1 versus 5-2. To me, that makes a pretty compelling argument just the odds alone. I think the blinkers are the right move. We talked about this horse needing to be worked on even in the when he was at Keeneland and able to get the win in the Bluegrass. Saez had to work his tail off the entire mile and mile and a 16th that day, mile and an 8th that day to be able to get Tapit Trice to stay close to the pace and then get by. Like, this is a lazy horse. We've talked about it a lot with Tapit Trice, how these Tapit horses, they don't mentally come along as fast as they do physically a lot of times. It's why you've seen them never win a Derby but win multiple Belmonts, is that extra time, those 5 weeks even, makes a difference when you get 1 more race or 2 more races into those type of horses. Tapit Trice is still goofy. He's been goofy his entire life. Until he's not goofy, he's not going to get to his potential. But at any point, he could blow up and be great because the potential is there. And adding the blinkers may take some of the goofiness out of him. And we've seen him, we've heard people saying he's worked out better in the morning with blinkers. Maybe that's the difference. And so to me, I'm not going to play him here. I wouldn't be shocked if he won, and he would be the fourth horse I used if I was going 4 deep. But I can't bring myself to use him until I actually see less of the goofiness on the track.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said. For me, what I ultimately thought about it was like, I think why I was using him is because I have this image in my mind of him coming off the turn, and here's Forte, and somehow Tapit Trice is just lumbering his dumb gray butt right past him, and we're all sitting there going, "It's the blinkers!" I'm like, what? If that happens, I'll let him beat me. I just can't waste money on Tapit Trice in this spot. Second time blinkers is a good angle for horses, though. So wherever he goes out of here, because he's not winning, so he's going to be a good price again, maybe consider him second time blinkers. That's the way to do it. Speaking of blinkers,
next.
That's probably where I'll end up too. If not the, what was it, be the Woodward? Oof. Maybe the Woodward. Get him at a price in the Woodward. See if that works out for you. National Treasure loses the blinkers. When Bob Baffert said the blinkers what made him win the Preakness.
Interesting.
And then he had the blinkers for the Belmont and looked distance limited against good horses. Now he takes the blinkers back off. What do you make of that?
I think it's why Scotland will get the lead. To be quite simple, I think that the reason we're taking the blinkers off is so Scotland gets ahead of them. Look, I think I'm surprised. It seems like the only way National Treasure wins is go gate to wire. If you go back and you look at when he has worn and not worn blinkers, he wore blinkers in his maiden debut, went gate to wire, wore blinkers in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Didn't get out fast, but guess what? Cave Rock was in that race, and wore blinkers in the Preakness and went gate to wire. Seems like it's a good idea to have this horse have blinkers on and go to the front, because it's turned out pretty good when we've done that. I'm surprised they don't keep them. Surprised that it's not a move you want to do here going a mile and a quarter. But I think a mile and a quarter might be a little too long for National Treasure. I don't think he's as fast as Scotland. I don't think he goes out and gets the lead. We've seen Velasquez do this before, though. He has been able to use horses that are quick to get in front, and then you all of a sudden see him in the 4-path, forcing everybody else a million wide, and then he slows it down going into the turn, and everyone backs off him, and then all of a sudden there's something left down the lane. The difference here is that National Treasure doesn't have to hold off Blazing Sevens. National Treasure has to hold off Forte, or Mage, or Tapit Trice, who are all better horses than Blazing Sevens. And I realize Mage ran third in the Preakness, but let's be honest, you're not going to get the same pace of the Preakness, and Mage is a different horse than having to come back 2 weeks after the Kentucky Derby than he will be in that race. So it's just a different breed of horse you're going to have to hold off if you're a National Treasure here, and you actually have another legitimate pace threat in the race.
If I in the comments, Ethan said, she just let me tap it because I'm goofy. I like that. That's a good one there. Yeah, Chris saying the same thing you did. Johnny V doing that thing where he sits in the 3-path on the lead. Yeah. It could happen. I could definitely see that. I just don't think that I think that he's of that B level National Treasure. That's why I didn't use him in this spot. Anybody actually think that Mage is going to be last because time form does project him to be that way?
Yeah, if he stumbles.
Which happens.
Yeah, we've seen that happen. So, like, but no, the problem is Tapit Trice is in the race, so it's highly unlikely he'll be last.
But the blinkers have made him so focused in the morning, Mike.
That doesn't mean he'll break.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks like it could be a Pratt versus Irad in the stretch. And if that's the case, give me Forte. Because like you brought up with Elite Power, you mentioned it then. Elite Power and Forte have that just reel them in, go get them, and go win this race at all costs kind of a mentality. So got that home for you. And Rodney, I want to give you a shout. I've been putting your comments up here, but I haven't mentioned it for the audio listeners. Rodney Evans has been red hot the last couple of months, and he likes 4, 6, 7. So he's going Mage, Disarm, the one horse you said he didn't think could win this race. And then Scotland in this spot. So Rodney swinging for the fences, and respect, Rodney. I like that. I'm not going to do it, but there you go.
Yeah, I just can't get to Disarm. I look at that horse. I'm like, okay, but I just kind of feel like you know what the ceiling is, and it doesn't feel like the ceiling's good enough to build a house. I'd be bumping my head all the time.
That's going to be over this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining Mike and I to talk about Saratoga's all Grade 1 2-day Pick 6 starting Friday with the Grade 1 Personal Ensign. You should be able to find this on any ADW. I saw Shadi asking that way at the beginning of the show, actually before we even started. But you should be able to find that. But do remember, this is a 2-day thing, so you've got to try this on Friday. If you don't catch the show until afterwards, hopefully we gave you something for a Pick 4 that you can try and put together a very pressed Pick 4 ticket. There's also a middle late Pick 5 that isn't going to include race 7, the Forego, but it does end in the Travers, and we'd actually had talked about doing that one as well. I think it's funny they call it a middle Pick 5. I get it's between the early and the late, but it's literally one race. It ends one race before the late Pick 5 on a 13 race card. not really quite the middle there. Anyways, all that to say, got off on a tangent here. Here's our tickets. We'll put them up. If you're watching, take a look down below. Audio listeners will give them out one last time. I'm going to go 1-5-6 with 2-3 with 4-5-6. Single to 6, 1-2-5-7. 1-2 to close out. $28.80 ticket, Mr. Somich.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 5 with 3 with 3-4-6 with 2-6-7 with 1-3-5-7 with 1-4-7. It'll cost you $21.60 for 20 cents. And I'm gonna play a $5 ticket. And I'm gonna go 5 with 3 with 6 with 6 with 7 with 1-4. It'll cost you $10 for $5. And you know what? I agree with Rodney's statement here. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
To beat the game, you have to take a stand and beat favorites sometimes. I agree. Or you have to press the shit out of the favorites. Those are the two options that you have. Like it's you really can't go one or the other. So you kind of have to decide whether or not you think the favorite is beatable and if the value for the favorite is the correct value for that specific horse, and either press through those favorites or you go and you try and beat them and you try and get around them and you try and find prices and stack those back to back. And even if you beat 5 favorites in a pick 5 sequence and you don't have a horse that pays over 5-1, you still get paid in the pick 5 sequence because you beat all 5 of those favorites. So it's just kind of deciding when to bob and when to weave and which strategy to use on specific days.
I get Nick Feldman also bringing, yeah, great point from you. I agree, Rodney. I mean, I've talked to you up before, Rodney, many times. I'm very, I don't want to say impressed because it feels like I'm talking down to you. I'm loving to see, since you started watching us, how often you're hitting tickets now. That's what I'm trying to say. You've really grown a lot.
Handicapping.
Yes. There you go. See, Mike is much better at the whole speaking, talking, conversation, blah, blah, blah thing going on. Nick says, I'll take anything except 2021 Travers Day. 9 of 12 favorites won that day. Most of them were under even money. Chalk Festival, Chalk Fest, and one upset. You couldn't count. Wait. Yeah, Jackie's Warrior Over Life is good because then Jackie lost the next year. Saratoga, man.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
These days, like when you get these short fields and Breeders' Cup level horses, it can lead to chalk fests. And so like, if you are taking shots against the favorite, don't hate it. Don't play a lot of money. Like, right. Short tickets, chuck the favorite, play 2 horses, try and get around them in a couple legs. If you're going to play the favorites, don't go deep in those races. Keep your tickets tight so that you can actually be profitable if you get all those favorites home.
All right. I'm trying to, Aaron's apparently in the air. And so I'm trying to, he keeps asking me questions about what's happening at Saratoga. I'm like, just pay for better Wi-Fi or take a better flight and then you can watch the races, right?
You should, what should you make up? Like,
what's that?
You could make up anything and he would believe it.
Ooh.
Okay. A golf cart ran into the Red Spring and knocked it off. They're going to have to cancel the last races because the paddock is flooded.
All right, we're gonna do this. You're gonna hear me typing. I apologize, but okay. Say that. That was really good. I was listening to it. Say it again.
A Naira golf cart ran into the Red Spring, and it erupted and flooded the Saratoga paddock, so the rest of the day is canceled. He'll believe it. Oh, Saratoga. Welcome to this year's Saratoga meet, where anything is believable. Even Magic not muting himself for a full episode.
God damn it, I've been so good about it all show. Dr. Miranda, 90 minutes left until she gets to Saratoga. All that to say, if you're going to be at Saratoga this weekend, Dr. Miranda's 90 minutes away. Aaron and Jared will be there later tonight when their flight lands. Mike will be in Las Vegas watching this, which means I'm going to be the only one around here. So no live show on Saturday because I love you guys. I love doing live shows. I cannot do a live show for several hours by myself again. I did that for the Kentucky Derby, and I don't ever want to do that again. So we will have the replays and the analysis over at racingdudes.com. But if you're going to be at the track, look for Aaron, look for Jared, look for Dr. Miranda, look for Vinny, look for Ricky. Ricky's going to be showing up, so you can go see our old buddy Ricky. So make sure you go check them out over at Saratoga. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8, corporate overlords at racing at racing_dudes. I think my brain just quit. I think we literally just saw that happen live on air.
I think so. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna. Okay, Rodney. I like fluffy socks quite a bit today, and we had an argument about it on Dudes Who Bet Daily because Aaron does not believe that my fluffy socks love is valid. I think the pace sets up well for fluffy socks today, and like consumer spending sitting there at 3-1, fluffy socks at 9-2. Fluffy socks has 4 races that are better than consumer spending's best race. I don't love this horse. I'm usually wrong on this horse, so grain of salt, but I think Fluffy Sock's going to run big today.
Yeah, we both were big fans of Fluffy Socks in that race, which means this has not been a good day for our best bet so far. I don't know if yours has started, but
No,
Papa Dude jinxed us.
I picked a real sport in the NFL, and so I think it kicks off around 6 o'clock tonight Pacific.
A real sport, NFL preseason. Yeah, okay. That's like jumbo shrimp.
Hey, it's more real than baseball, man.
Well, Aaron isn't really biting on the lie, so I guess we can get out of here. He's not. I think maybe that was too unbelievable. There was one time, I'll tell you a story a different day. We convinced our friend that the Arizona Coyotes were playing the Detroit Red Wings in Detroit, and our friend was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was." This guy doesn't pay attention. I didn't know that they were playing today, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it actually was supposed to be in Arizona, but it was back when Wayne Gretzky was running the team." Like, Gretzky got drunk last night, left the door to the arena open, and the ice all melted, so they had to fly to Detroit real quick so that they could play games there instead. He actually believed that for about 2 weeks.
Do you think if we gave Ricky $1,000, he'd steal a golf cart and drive it into the Big Red Spring?
I think if you gave Ricky 5 drinks, he'd do that. And that at Saratoga, that's probably like, what, 600, 700?
Yeah, that's quite expensive. Unless you just, like, maybe I'll maybe Dr. Miranda will bring him a 6-pack, and then he'll do it.
Yeah, Dr. Miranda, let us know in the comments. You can do that for your old friend Ricky. Let us know down below. Let us know if you're playing the 2-day pick six. Put in the comment section. My God, I need to get out of here. What your tickets are going to be for this sequence. Thank you so much for watching. Sticking with us, sticking with me, struggling with the ending of this show. Make sure you check out Blinkers Off. They were live last night. Also, DudeTube Sports. Everybody covering Travers Stakes Day at Saratoga. So wall-to-wall coverage at racingdudes.com. Any final notes, Mike, before we get out of here?
No. It's college football week 0. Enjoy football, meaningful football for the rest of the year. Let's go, baby.
Notre Dame Navy playing in Ireland. That's meaningful football right there. A country that calls football something completely different, hosting Navy Notre Dame. Thanks so much for joining. Until next time, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Save me from my misery. See ya.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.